Welcome to Living the Way, hosted by Pastor Charlie and Dr. Melanie Jimmerson. Step back and join us as we take a closer look at how the Bible really can and does apply to our lives today. We really do value your feedback, so write a comment and don't forget to share so your friends will be blessed as well.
You know, before Christianity was called a religion, it was known as the way. The way. It's a way of living, a way of believing, and a way of following Jesus. Now, this program is actually intended to talk about how we can actually live the way of Jesus.
We are exploring that, and we are finding there are so many ways.
Yes.
I'm just amazed that I didn't know it.
Right. And so welcome to Living the Way.
Yeah, living
now,
the way.
Today, we've been talking about, here the last quite a few episodes, as you can see with the banner behind us, we've been honoring our country. We celebrated our 250th anniversary of the birth of our nation, and we've been talking about different aspects about our country. And today, we actually want to talk about what does it mean to be a good citizen?
Good citizenry.
Yes, we need we need to be putting our faith to work in our community. Guys, we're not supposed to hide our faith.
No, we're supposed to. Well, not only are, I mean, it's kind of a small line there because it's not good to be proud,
right?
But it is good to be proud of the nation.
Yes.
That you contribute to every day you walk out the door.
Absolutely.
So we need to understand that there's different types of pride, I guess, and so being proud of our nation is okay.
That's right, and you know, we the United States is not perfect. No nation is. But let me tell you, out of all the nations in this world right now, in fact, I think throughout history, the United States is the greatest nation ever. I'm not saying that just because I am a citizen of the United States. I'm saying that because it's true. We have done more for the world.
Everybody else in the world, right.
Than any other country.
Yeah.
So a Christian's highest allegiance needs to be to Christ. That's where our highest allegiance is. But it makes us better citizens.
Of course.
So,
and
so
Christ's
that's
teachings.
That's kind of what we want to talk about today.
Right.
So I think every Christian ought to love our country, no matter what country you're in. Okay, because I know we have some views from around the world.
Well, let me just tell you something.
Okay.
On the first time I ever went to Europe, I used to have to spend several summers in Europe when I was in graduate school, and one of the things that I heard more than anything else is it must be wonderful to live in a nation you can be proud of.
Yes.
I heard that more than once.
Wow. Well, during the World Cup that we just had,
yeah.
People were coming over here and they were scared when they came.
Yeah.
There were
They'd heard all the bad things.
Interviewed. They were scared because they'd heard all the bad about America. But when they got here, they fell in love with this country. And
they fell in love with us too.
And several people going like, they hated to go back to their own country. They loved it here so much. And you know what? It's quite evident that people want to get into this country.
Yeah, it is. We have border problems.
Yeah, with all the border problems,
Well, they're not running out, are they?
But guys, we've got to love our country, but we can't worship our country.
No.
This country is not an object. We have to obey God without becoming rebellious toward legitimate authority. God created government.
But also God taught us through Jesus how to appreciate.
That's right.
How to appreciate where He has placed us in this world, and how we are supposed to reflect Him in our behavior.
That's right. And you know what? We need to always be looking for the good in everything. Even when things aren't the best, we need to look for the good in it, because I guarantee you will find good in it.
Right.
There's good in everything.
There's growth and there's, understanding.
So I've got some bullet points here, and we'll just kind of go over these. I got some scriptures and everything. But, we need to, Christians ought to respect authority. We have a responsibility to vote.
Oh, man, that's one of my favorite subjects.
Yes.
You want to get started on that. I don't think he wants to get me started on that one. But let me just tell you, this is what I say about how we should look at that.
Mm-hmm.
We have two wonderful, important things in our lives. One is our salvation. Our salvation is the most important, and our vote.
That's right.
The two most important things in my life is my salvation and my vote, and then my family and
Yes.
so on and so forth.
But we have been given a privilege that a lot of countries don't have. And that is, this nation is of the people. It's the people. This whole thing about no kings and everything. Let me tell you, if our president was a king, they wouldn't be doing rallies against him.
No, they would not. They would not have the freedom to do
That's
that.
right.
No.
Look at what happened. Just let's look back in history a little bit. I'm a little older than some, but Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
I remember Tiananmen Square, where
In China. That's in China.
Yes,
Yeah.
where the Chinese started rebelling against their government and all, and there for a while they were in there, and of course the cameras were all on there, and I think the Chinese did a good job at restraint there for a while, but I tell you what, it come a point
Yeah,
to where
it was
they
over.
Stopped that.
Yeah, they did. Yes,
You
they
know,
did.
and
they punished the people
that
who were
did.
on TV.
That's right. Freedom is such a wonderful thing. But guys, what makes our freedom so great is the fact that we get to choose our representatives. And I want people to, now, I'll just be honest. I wish that every senator, every congressperson, every president, everybody within our government,
And
personally,
their staffs.
I wish they all were Christian,
Yes.
devout Christians, because Christianity will have them be good citizens.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I know that's not going to happen. But when I vote, that's something top on my list. I want to know what they value. And there's a real choice in this election this year.
Every time.
Yes, but more
Every
so
time.
this year than any other.
Especially for
year.
Texas. We've got a really good
Yes,
person up for Texas, and so.
yes, and the other one is outspending them 50 to 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But we've got to look at what they stand for. And let me just tell you that don't look at the person that you're voting for during an election season. Don't forget what they're saying on TV right now. It's a bunch of bunk. Okay? You need to look at what they said before they were running.
Well, that's right, and that's what we don't have that information, in, usually don't have it open to us.
Right.
And we need to really do the research to see who is this
Yes.
really, who is
and
this
what do
really.
they stand for, and what do they say? Because we got a candidate right now that is running that says, now I just saw his ad the other day that said he was a devout Christian. And he believes God is non-binary.
Oh yeah.
He believes in abolishing all kinds of things within our country. And believing for things that does not exhibit what God says the way we ought to live. Now, but right now he's running for office.
Well, let's talk about that.
He's going to say what he thinks people want to hear. so he can get elected,
Yeah.
so then he can vote and do anything he wants.
What I want to talk about, though, is voting responsibly.
Yes.
Voting responsibly is being informed before you get to the poll and are standing there trying to make up your mind who you're going to vote for. You need to have done your research and made your mind up before you get to the poll.
And you know what? And it's not that hard to do
No,
today. I mean, there's all kinds. There's iVoter Guide. That's a Christian organization. Comes from the American Family Association. Okay, where they will actually interview. They'll look at what they've said in the past, what they believe, and everything. iVoter.com. You know, they can send me some money for advertising for them if they want to. But you know,
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. I don't want it. But you know, that is something that one of the things, just one that I will look at.
Yeah.
Because you know they'll have certain things on there.
They don't have every single one.
Right, and it'll have whether they're for it or against it.
From a conservative point of view.
Yes, from a conservative point of view. Okay, you know, but there's all kinds out there. There's all kinds out there. In fact, you know, and sometimes I'm going like, God, don't make me say that. But you know, there's liberal ones out there too. Liberal voter guides that will have a slant for the liberal. Okay, so you know, so let me talk to conservatives for a minute. Make sure you get on the right one. Okay, but the simple thing is, if it's easy to get information about what the candidates really stand for.
Well, okay, in addition to information, let's talk about praying for those who are already in office. Do you lift them up in prayer? Because they're there, and whether we agree with them or not, they could use some prayer. I have a particular thing that I do that's I pray for, every Monday I pray for the president. Every Tuesday I pray for usually the vice president. On Wednesdays I pray for Congress. I can't call everybody's name, but I just pray for Congress because Wednesday is called Hump Day. You know, to most of us who are in the workaday world, it's the hardest day of the week. Well, Congress is the hardest to pray for, if you know many of them, and they need prayer more than just about anybody else because they have tremendous pressure on them.
Yes,
tremendous pressure.
And I would say, Melanie is saying it right. Sister Melanie is saying it right. Pray for, not against.
Yeah.
Lift them up.
Yeah.
You know, there has been presidents that I totally and completely did not support. But once they were elected, I prayed for them. I wanted them to succeed. I wanted them to further this country. And the only way that I could do that is I would pray for God to have them. And let me tell you, some of y'all and some Christians, I know it right now, some Christians out there is going like, well, that ain't going to happen. Well, it did for Darius.
Oh, yes, right. That's right.
You know,
it sure did.
There's been a lot of
King Darius
kings that God
way back
used.
in Daniel's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, so, you know, let me tell you, God can cause people to do right no matter what.
That's true. That's true.
You know, so pray for them. Ask God to have them do what is right and pray for them. Lift them up. And, you know, one thing that I pray, especially when I pray for Congress, in fact, I'd say this on our Sunday evening prayer services that I do. You know, I pray and ask God to have everyone that claims to be a Christian to vote and lead as a true Christian. Not just come out there and say, well, I'm a Christian. No, I don't want you to say, I'm a Christian. I want you to show me you're a Christian. That's what living the way is all about. We need to live in a way that people know we're a Christian before we ever open up our mouth. You know, I saw that lady at Sam's. I remember when Sam's first opened up, we got a card, we were in there, and we were getting ready to check out, and they had 2 people at the door checking people out, you know, making sure nobody took anything.
Nowadays.
Well, actually, that's not what they're doing. They're checking their checkers.
Oh,
They're making sure their checkers are doing their job. Okay, but anyway, here I am, and the one line was longer than the other, and Debbie started to get over in the short line. I said, no, I want to be over this line. She said, it's longer. I said, I know. She said, why? And I said, you see that lady up there? She said, yeah. I said, she's a Christian. I want to talk to her.
no.
She said, you know her?
How did you know
that?
that?
No. I said, I could just tell she's a Christian.
We,
And I tell you what, we had church when we got up there.
yeah, let me just put something in here.
All right.
Because I teach this in my Sunday school class. Y'all, don't forget, Christians glow in the dark. You forget it, you don't understand it, you don't think about it too much, but as a non-Christian until I was 33, I saw people that I knew were probably Christians because I could see that they kind of glowed.
Yes.
And the woman that brought me into the kingdom of God, the first time I saw her after many years of our not seeing one another, she's standing in her doorway at her house welcoming me in, and I said, what is that's going on behind you? And she turned around and she said, what? It's just a screen door. No, it looked like the fireworks were going off behind her. And when I told her about that, she was like, really? I've always wondered. And I said, well, let me tell you, I need to know what that is. And that started the way that she brought me into the kingdom. Right.
Your journey on the kingdom.
Yeah.
But we need to be responsible in our voting. But guess what? I believe every Christian needs to be involved somehow, some way in their community.
Yeah, preach it, brother.
In their community. Now you can do that through your church. Well, let me tell you, right here in Channelview, you can do it with the Channelview ministry team.
Right.
We have a Channelview ministry team here in Channelview that is there is no denomination, there's no one church, there's no one color, there's no one anything. We're the community coming together to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Right, and that's really what we want.
Anybody, if you're in the Channelview, Texas area, you need to be part of the Channelview ministry team. Mm-hmm. We got an opportunity for you to come and thank every first responder coming up, because we got a first responder.
Oh yeah, our first responders. Oh, we love them so much.
Yes.
They are so important to our wonderful way of life.
Yeah.
Can you imagine your life without the first responders?
Right.
No. So
and I can't believe all these candidates that are saying that they want to abolish the police.
Oh.
Now,
I don't want anybody to tell them.
I just want everybody to just stop a minute, breathe in, and think about no police officers. What are you going to do when someone, because let me tell you, we live in a corrupt world. So what are you going to do when somebody comes in your door to either kill you, steal from you, rape your wife, abuse your children? What are you going to do? Who are you going to call?
Well,
a social worker?
Yeah, that's what they want us to do.
Yeah, is a social worker really going to be able to help? What are you going to do when somebody goes into a bank and robs? Or, let me tell you, we live in the Houston area. There's murder going on all the time. Well, how are those people ever going to get punished? They want to abolish the prisons. Yeah, that really makes sense. All those rapists, all those murderers, all those, people that has done drug dealers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're just going to let them back out.
Let me say something about the prisoners. Let me say something about the prisoners, because I worked with the prison ministry for 25 years. If you get to know, if you do some prison ministry work and get to know some of the prisoners, they'll tell you that if they had not been caught and incarcerated, they would be dead. They'll tell you that all the time. They say, well, no, I don't like living here, and no, I don't like the food, and I don't like what prisoners' life is like, but it's better than being dead. And they'll give that kind of testimony.
Yes.
Many of them will.
And it's, that's true. I've often said if God wouldn't have saved me when he did, I don't think I'd be alive.
Well,
I was not headed down a good road.
Yeah.
And praise God, I was young enough. I don't know where that road would have led, but I can tell you right now, I don't think it would have been anything good.
no, you would have been a reprobate all the way. I know.
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah.
No,
but no, my personality is all in or all out.
oh gosh.
So let me tell you, I've often said, Paul says in the Bible that he was the chief of sinners. The only reason he could say that
It's because you weren't
I
born
wasn't
yet.
born.
You weren't born yet.
If I had been born, he'd said I'm second.
I know him not from that era. And so
Amen.
for me
Amen.
to see him as being the chief of sinners, it's just hilarious to me.
But that's the grace of God. See, that God can do that to anybody. I can remember giving my testimony in a church one time that I'd been in for a while. I had several people come up and go like, if I didn't know you, I'd sworn down you were up there lying. I can't imagine you living that kind of lifestyle, doing those kind of things.
Either.
Did you really do that? You go like, well, I'm not proud of it, but yes.
Yeah, that's
But
the way of the world.
God can take us out of that and change us so completely that we are different people.
Yeah.
And you know what? When we are involved in our community, we get to show them. The third Saturday of every month, we have a thing called the Hands of Hope. Where
That's
we,
right, y'all
we
do.
open up at First Assembly of God. We open up their Hagee Hall, and we feed people. Anybody that wants to come in. Yeah, they don't have to be homeless. They can be. They don't have to be affiliated with any church. They can be. It doesn't matter. We just open it up for the community.
Right.
Come in. And you know what? If you're in Channelview, Texas, you're welcome. Third Saturday, you remember. We're there from 11 to 1 doing the lunch. So come and be involved. Meet people. That is what's being involved in the community.
That's right.
We don't need to
Be involved in our
Christians
community.
inside the walls of a church. Yeah, yes, we are, okay? But it's more important for us to be Christians out there, outside the walls of the church. That's where it really matters, because that's where the people are. That's the people we need to influence, that we need to reach. And the only way we can do it is if we live it out there.
Right, right. If we pray for our nation, let me just mention a couple of other things, because I mentioned on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then on Thursday, I always pray for the judiciary, which is the Supreme Court, and all of the people who have given their lives to helping us with our judicious system, to be judicious, I think, not just to rule, but to be judicious. They need prayer so bad. I know several of them personally, and they're always asking, the first thing they want you to do before they even start asking you for money for their reelection is, would you pray for me?
Yes.
And because they don't know everything there is to know. They're not omniscient.
Right.
And they'll be the first to admit it. So
And
don't forget the judiciary.
It's really hard between, God's got a hard job, because he is just,
Yes.
but he's also merciful.
Yeah.
That's a fine line to be able to walk all the time. And judges, everybody in the judicial department, that's their calling, is to try to walk the best way down that thin line, where you just don't let criminals out because you're merciful. No, that's being bad for the people. But at the same time, you can't be over mean. I'll just use that word, in your judging.
Yeah, you can't overdo it.
So you have to, there has to be a balance, and what is that? I remember that statue when I said balance, a blindfold, holding up a balance.
Yeah.
it's got,
Scales.
justice got to be
Yeah.
balanced.
Yeah, that's the goddess of justice.
Yes.
And those scales are very important.
Yes, they are.
But-
But yeah, we need to pray. If you're not praying for your church,
Be a prayer warrior. Be a
just-
prayer
just
warrior.
pray.
It's
Just pray.
it's once you get into prayer to the point where you can realize that you know how to pray for something, that's a real good thing. It makes a difference in your life. And
Yes.
and you know that the Lord can count on you to pray for something that might be happening in your world or
Right.
in your area, that He needs some prayer warriors on the scene. That's where you come in, and that's where I'm telling you, it's very, very, very good to know. Very good thing
And
to
the
know.
last thing that I want to go over is we need to be speaking the truth
Okay.
in love. A lot
Thank
of people
you.
will
Thank you.
speak the, oh, I'm just speaking the truth. I'm
Yeah.
just speaking the truth. Well, Christians aren't supposed to speak the truth. We're supposed to speak the truth in
love, right.
So if we're not speaking the truth to try to help somebody, we're wrong.
That's true.
Because I
That's
know a lot
truth.
of Christians will
There
say
you go.
something that is true, but they say it in a way to hurt people instead of help them. That's
Be careful.
wrong.
Be careful.
Yes, we just need to be careful.
Yeah.
So we're coming down to an end of another living
can't
the way.
believe it.
I
It's
tell you
just-
what, this 30 minutes goes by.
It does
so
for us.
quick.
It goes by fast.
But living way is not a path that you just visit.
Nope.
Nope. It should be a life that you walk every day. And may we never, ever be known only for just what we believe, but may we always be known for how faithfully we follow
Oh,
Jesus in the way.
faithfulness. Yes.
So,
How
and
faithful.
Melanie, where can we learn how to live the way?
Well, go to church a lot.
Go to church a lot.
See what's happening there, because you'll be amazed at how many beautiful things happen during a worship service.
Yes, beautiful, and sometimes the funniest things happen in
Oh,
church.
yeah, there's another one.
So, yes. So, on behalf of East Houston Revival Center, Sister Melanie, CB, Ronnie, Philip, Gabby, thank you for coming today, and myself,
Philip.
keep living the
The
way.
way.
God bless.
Thank you for watching, and remember, be in church tomorrow. If you don't have a home church, you really need to find one. The church needs you, and you really need the church.